Bitte? Second. Okay, so we now have the app installed. It was started. Okay, so before we get started by building any application, the first thing that we should be doing is to figure out what's the schematic is going to be, like how we are going to handle the global state and what we are going to do with the local state, what are the things that tools that we are going to use, are we going to use any kind of special middleware like Thunk or Saga, and all these things needs to be decided before we actually get started with our application. So yeah, so let's, for our example, I think we will be using the React router for global state management for a time being, because in the product checked-in app that I have already shown it to you, there I have used the Redux. The only thing that haven't done there is using the Redux DevTools that I'll show you separately. Okay, so in here, if we are not going to use the Redux, then we will use the context API for global state management, right? And then there will be some local state management. For that, we will be using the functional components. Okay, now, so how we are going to, the first thing that I want to show you is what is the standard, how we actually, kind of hold our application. So, in the source, we first start with folder. Like the first thing is pages, like what are the different pages that we are going to have. Then let's create something called elements. What are the different elements that we are going to have? Then we are going to create something called store, or maybe we can create a context. Okay, and then we will require something called, you may also take into account the config file if you want to have a different configurations for different environments. Then you can also create a config file, but for our case, at least for now, I think this is enough. So I'll stop here. Now coming to the element section, what I'll do is I'll create. So what are the elements that are going to require? If you remember the schematic that I showed you for the e-commerce app that we have, that for the e-commerce app that we are going to develop, I think it required a search bar, it's going to require a nav bar, and it's going to require certain cards. So let's consider those elements and we create folders for them. One would be a nav bar. Then we will have a nav bar, then you will have card. Oh, sorry, I think went inside of it. Right, so we are going to design these components in the most generic way possible. So what I mean by that, I'll tell you. So cards is going to have some styles to it. So I'll write styles. Okay. Then it's going to have the card.js, which is our cards file. I created a folder. Yeah. And we are also going to create index.js here. That should be the standard because we don't want to we just want to import this folder. We don't want to import the specific file from within the folder. And for doing that, every folder should have index.js so that I can directly import it from there. Okay, now let's come to the card. Okay, let's create our card element first. Port React, React. So let's create a very simple card. Let's say we have a div. Sorry, we have a div which we define the class as card, and we have the img. Sorry, img we will not do right now. We will take it as props. Later on, we will do it. Or maybe at this point of time, just do the image source. And this is not going to render, but just for the sake of it, we are doing it. Okay, and so that's the card in itself. Now we want some content to be inside the card, so we can write it as like card content. So create another div. Should be like card content. Yeah. Let's say let it have some content, so it will have like product description and stuff like that. Okay, let's think if I have the Postman open, maybe I can hit it and see what are the things that are coming. um, okay, so each product is going to have price, it will have some description, it's going to have some product type, it's going to have a name. Okay, so maybe we want to first display the name and the price as of now. Okay, name, the price, and there a product description somewhere. This image URL will be there. Product type. Okay. Anyway, just name and price, let's say. So we will, along with the image source, we are also going to take the name and we are going to take the price. So let's say that the name is going to product name. So whatever products, if you see in the response, the products is basically an array which has many elements. So whatever products we have, we will display it with this card only. We'll just pass the appropriate props for each product and it will kind of display on its own. Now the question is, the first thing is testing, how we are going to test it. So what for the time being, for just for the testing purposes, we will import it in here. Import the card from, okay, I haven't exported it from there. So see, I have exported it from here, but I have not imported it here. So I'll import card from card and export. Okay. Now in the app.js, we import card from, and we will have elements card. That's it. We don't move this there. So move this one. Okay, default importance card was okay.
So, why are you doing import and export to the card in the index.js? You can do it in the app.js itself, right?
Yeah, correct. So see, when I do it from here, if I do it from the card.js, okay. So inside the elements, inside the card folder, we will have the card.js file. So if there may be several files like card.js, maybe some child component of card, right? Okay. And so this way it will be there. So if you have to import this card.js from this nested folder, then you have to give the entire path like elements slash card slash card.js, something like that. Okay, but every card, if the folder has something called an index, for index.js, okay, then the React knows that this index.js is going to export the main content. So in that way, if you are exporting it from index.js, you don't have to import it from your like from the nested kind of writing it like this. You don't have to write this part. This is not required. So that's the only reason.
Okay, got it.
Anyways, just for testing, we just write again hello, just to see our card is coming. Welcome.
Swamendra, while you are doing this, can you explain and do it so that we do know what all this?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay. Yeah. So this is like, so we don't require the box to shadow to be there on the left side. We just require some part of it on the top, some part to the right. And we gave it a color of like, we just gave it a grayscale color because gray, red, green, and blue will all be zero. And this alpha is just one, property through which you can, change the scale. I mean, your contrast of your color. So I gave it a 0.2. You can also vary it and see how it works. Okay, so let's first see if this comes up. Okay, and also I give this just for the debugging purposes. In case it doesn't come up, then we will, if it comes in red, we will be able to see. Okay, the first thing you have to do is import this thing. When you have the styles, let's see this. Okay, yeah, now it's coming. Now all you have to do is go back here and then just remove this. This was for the debugging purposes. Okay, so now now you can see that there's this sort of color, sorry, not color, I mean the shadow that kind of brings it to the forefront, like separates it. Because of the shadow, it gets separated from its, what I can say, from its background. Okay, now the other thing that I would like to have is for this, borders to be rounded. So what I'll do is I'll just give some border radius to it, maybe 5 pixels. Okay, so now you have rounded borders. That's okay. And maybe one more thing is that I want is like it should, what I can say, uh, 0.8. Yeah, one thing is, yeah, so one thing that I want is like once you hover over the card, because you generally see when you hover over the card, it kind of comes forward, right? So what I want that effect. So what I'll do is like I'll write a card and add a hover effect to it. Okay, and when it kind of hovers on the card, what I want essentially is box shadow to increase. So right now it's 4 pixels. So let's make it 8 pixels. The 8 pixel one, let's make it 16 pixels. And the rest of the things remains the same. Uh, so what happens is like just it kind of increases a little bit. The shadow kind of increases a little bit. That's the only thing. And now the card content, this was one more class, I think. Card content. Yeah. So we write the card content. What was it? Yeah. Card content. So let's give some padding to it. Maybe the padding would be good. Okay. Maybe top right. Right. So that's okay. Now, one more thing is like if you see now, if you hover over the card, the kind shadow increases. And this was what I was trying to get from here. The other thing that I want to also do is um, which is like okay, let's try if this happens. Let's do it in the DevTools only. Mm. this card. Okay. Want to condition. Yeah, that's fine. So you see this now, what I did here with this transition thing, I also had it here. So what was happening so far, let me first show you this. So what's happening here is as soon as you hover over it, immediately the box shadow increases. I don't want that because I want the transition to be a little bit smooth so that it's better on the eyes. So what I do is I make the transition to, to maybe 3 seconds or, 0.3 seconds. Okay. So what happens by doing that, what we achieve is we will make the, when the box shadow comes up, it will not come up immediately. It will take some time and it will then come up. So if you see now, see, it's a little bit smoother. So that's what we wanted to do. Okay, so that's all. Now there is some, obviously this is not all. I mean, there are some additional stylings when the image gets added. Okay, and then when the data gets added, we will do some additional styling to it. But for the time being, we just wanted a very basic card and we have got one, so we don't need to meddle around it anymore. We will do some more things to it, but that will be later on. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let's come to the other section, which is to, yeah, what else is there? So the one was cards. The other one would be the search bar. So let's create our search bar now. We will follow the same folder structure. Now this is what I was talking about scaffolding, that we need to follow the same folder structure for all the things. So search bar, we will create a file also. Search bar.js and we will create a file called index.js. Okay. Right. So in the search bar at its core is just an input box, but it will is a kind of a different kind of an input box. So for that, we have to write a few styles for that, and that we will see. Oops. Yes. Okay. So that we will see what, but yeah, at the basic level, a search bar is simply yeah, a kind of an input box, uh, which we have to render. Okay. 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 Let's give it some placeholder. Enter product name or maybe just some fancy thing like what you want to search, or please type whatever you need. Okay. It should be default. Okay. Now for the testing purposes, first let's bring the search bar here. Okay, so now we have it. So let's first apply the styles here to see how it goes. Let's say we apply 10 pixels will be very small. Let's say 20 report height. Okay, that will be very large. We reduce this to this much is okay. Yeah, and let's just keep the width to be 100%. Okay, or maybe we make it 90%. Okay, and yeah, that's all. So height and width is all we have to give for this. So we come here, we go to styles, we create the styles.css. Okay, what was we didn't give it last, right? Last equals to search bar. Which bar with the height of, what was the height we decided? 704 height. And a width of 90%. Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah, it didn't get applied because we didn't imported it and then okay, import check now. Yeah, so that's what we required. Now we have it. Yeah, so there's one more thing that will be required, which will be a kind of an icon like a magnifying glass, maybe at the start here. And then we also require some across button, perhaps at the end, just to clear out the input box. That is like an optional requirement, may not be required straight away because we can always go here and clear it out. But maybe we'll require it and we'll see how to add it in when we'll add the later sections, when we will add the icons to it. Okay. So that's all about search bar. Now we have the card. Now we have the search bar. Now the only thing that's left is the nav bar. So once we have the nav bar, I think we should be able to get our page in place. So let's create the nav bar also. Excuse me. Sorry, I went away for drinking some water. So let's give some styles here. Let's build another file. File. JS, and we create something called index.js, as we do it for the rest of the things also, because that's the standard. Now let's import here from here, and we constant var. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you one thing. So generally, I think whatever I'll make by writing the CSS that I'm showing you right here, I mean, you can create much more better UIs by using some of the libraries that are available. I think I discussed about the Material UI or Tailwind. You can just follow the documentation. I'll ask you to follow the documentation for Material UI, or you can follow the other project that I was showing you that day. That was the checked in project. There you'll see that Material UI is used. So if you use some in pre-built libraries like Material UI, then you will be able to like create much more better UIs. The reason is that the CSS for that is already written. All you have to do is just use it in your classes. Yeah, but the only reason why I'm trying to build it from scratch is for you to know a little bit or understand a little bit about some of the CSS concepts, as well as like how to custom design your component. Because however much the libraries are available, the libraries also provide a lot of customization, but it may not always be enough. So we also need to know a little bit of CSS for us to for us to be flexible in terms of designing certain things for the client. So that's the reason I'm showing you. I'm building this from scratch using pure native CSS for you to understand how things are going to work and how you're going to debug the design component if you happen to face across any challenge in the future. Okay, so to return this, create a div here. Now, so if you remember, the nav is nothing but a uh, unordered list of components, right? So yeah, so for the time being, let's just use an A tag. Okay, I'll tell you about it later on. Actually, we will not use the A tag when we will define our routing. So at that point of time, I'll show you like we will be using this link from the React router. Yeah, but for now, we will just use the A tag. We don't need our home to be here. Actually, we don't need all these things. Yeah, what we want is um, one is like what was it? I forgot the design only. Okay, let's open up. Okay, let's first open a new window. Okay, open the, so you see how the card is designed here. Okay, so this is the one that for the one that I uploaded. The constant card, I've passed the width, height, and image URL. Okay, so all this you can customize the style, and you don't have to worry about width, any height, any image URL. These are all TypeScript. I'll talk about it later. Okay, but this is just one example. Let's start it to just show you, just for me to just to remember what the design is going to be. Yeah, okay. Add product will be there, cart will be there, and wish list will be there. Three things. We add product, cart, and wish list. So we will do the same thing here. We're not here. Add product, cart, wish list. So I think when you click on the add products, I think it opens up a module to the product when you click on the cart and when you click on the wish list. Yeah, that's fine. You can add, I think, to the wish list. Yeah, it's okay. Just close that one for now and close this one. We come back here. Now, so now that we recalled our design, let's start with designing our nav bar. So mhm, okay. So here we have to, what we have to do is like we have to remove the styles, the default styles for the UL and the elements for navbar to work. So we can just give it a class and using that we can remove the styles. So let's do it for now like this. It's like the list style type should be none, because if you don't give it none, all the bullet points will come. And what I also want is like some background. Some margin to be there. Margin is not required even though, but we still define it. Some padding can be defined. We will change it later on if required. And margin padding and what else is required? Margin padding. Some background color will be required. And yeah, what if there's an overflow? So we just make the overflow to be hidden. And a background color, what we are going to give. Let's give it aqua font. No, aqua will not be good. Then give it a dark color. Mm, no, okay, let's find out for material color, nice colors. Let's keep our let this be the color, and let's keep our color as white. So we give it like this, background color to be this, and the color self to be white. Yeah. So that's for the UL part. Okay, now we may also require to give what happens to the LI. So for each element, we want the elements to be, let's say, on the left side. So we float the elements to the left. Okay, and for I mean that's all for now. We will see what if there's anything else is required. We import styles from styles. Okay, then we get.js. We import navbar navbar. Can't resolve status. Oh, which will be CSS. This navbar was not found in that navbar. Okay. Okay. Now we have something like this. We have navbar product. So let's make it a little bit better. Using a nav block, okay, let's do one thing. Let's increase the height. Okay, it doesn't matter. So what's the div wrapping? See, it's like this. This one is fine. So give it to the div. What about the nav? The UL. Okay. Now I just realized we also have to change the font. So let's come back to navbar. Just give the height of what was the 9 viewport height. Okay, and yeah, just realize that we also have to give um, some kind of margin to it. Sorry, padding to it, padding top. 5 pixels. Increase this a little bit. Okay. I think so we can make the parent element as flex. Then uh, no, okay, yeah, it should be there. I think the display block is defined somewhere. Okay, yeah, that's why it's not getting applied. So we remove this from here. Remove it from here. Mhm. This should be in the, and then yeah, that looks good. And also give some margin left. Maybe. Okay, and give some font to it. That's a little bit more. 1.5 EM maybe. So a little bit more to, yeah, it's fine. 1.2 EM and yeah, and this background color. Okay, first let's copy this margin top, margin left. Margin top can be given as 16 pixels. Mm, yeah, in the background color we are giving. Yeah, save this. Reload this. Yeah. Now more or less, a kind of a little bit respectable navbar. I mean, that's the most basic kind of navbar that you can create. Now, if you go to, let's say, material UI, as I was saying, that you can create much more better UIs. Yeah, you can create much more better UIs if you use some library. But I'm not using library because I am trying to like show you how it's done. If you see my other project, I closed it, but product checklist in that project, you will see that I have used some libraries there. So yeah, so if you, where is this? It's called app bar, I think here. Mhm. Okay. Yeah, it's called app bar. So we come to the app bar section. Yeah, so this is the kind of, so in order to create this, the power of using custom UX libraries, that you don't have to write any CSS for this. Now all the CSS is defined, all you have to just use those CSS. That's it. You come here, see this is, so if you have to write it natively, you have to write a lot of CSS code for this. But since you are using this, if you use this material UI, then you all have to do is just copy the code from here, paste it in your React component, and then just customize it according to your own wishes. So yeah, so if you use like these kind of libraries, then it will be much more easier for you to build your applications. The only reason I am doing it with a custom like this is because I want to show you like how things work. Okay. Okay, that's it. So now we have all the components, we can bring them all together, and that should be the end of our class today. And tomorrow we will do some other things with it. So yeah, to bring it all together, we will create a page. Let's call it the home page. Inside the home, we will create, let's say, a file called home.js, and we'll create a file called index.js. So side, oops, right. So here, let's write it. Okay, export. Put it here. In here, the first thing I'm going to import is a navbar. Then I'm going to import our search bar. Then I'm importing what was it? Card. Card is not required right now. Maybe I'll just go with this. Okay, so yeah, first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to render this navbar. And then I'm going to render this search bar. Okay. Okay, where did it go? Oh, okay, I am not rendering this. So let's go to app.js. Now all the testing for the testing purposes, whatever we have done, we will remove this and we will import our home pages, and we will just render it here. Okay, now we have it. So obviously you can see that, there's this, what I can say, it just comes down. We don't want it that way. We have to increase so we can easily do it with CSS here. All we have to do is just go here, select this parent div, and in here we can give some margin top, like the height, and we can give some margin right, and like 5 viewport width. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Okay, that's it. So margin top and padding left, we just add it to our search bar. And oh, okay. Shipping margin. No, okay, this is getting applied to the input box. We have to apply it to the div. That's why. Where is it? Is the search bar? Okay, I think maybe it's some mistake. Hmm. Okay. So it seems like somehow the style is not getting applied here. It's class search bar div. Okay. But this one gets applied. Not search bar gets applied. Search bar div doesn't get applied. Okay. What could be the reason for this? Mhm. Okay, so somehow applying the ID gets it done, but not with the class. Don't know, maybe I'm missing out some small detail somewhere. I'll check and let you know. But for the time being, let that be the checked in code. See how it appears on iPad. Appears like this. So yeah, let's make it to an iPhone. Yeah. So as you can see right now here, we have to write some media queries to handle the phone devices. Okay, at least for the tablets, it's working fine. But for the phone devices, which are like very small, you have to write some media queries for that. Yeah. This is how it's gonna appear on an iPad. If I remove the responsiveness, then yeah, this is how it is. Okay, so that's all from today. What I wanted to show you is how we go about develop. Okay, yeah, how we go about developing the app and how we fold the app in general. Okay, so if you see here, what we started is with all the very basic components that our page is going to require. Our page requires an app bar which has certain links to it. It requires a search bar and it requires some cards. So we started by building those things first. We built an app bar, we built a card, we built a search bar, and then in the home page, we integrated all those things together by rendering those components. Okay, so this is how we build, pages in an application, in a React application, by taking individual elements and then combining them together to build one page. And that's basically what I was talking about when I was talking about scaffolding the app. Okay. Okay. So that is it. Now in the next class, what we are going to do is we will integrate our, our app with some API. We will get the data and we will render the cards here. Okay, for that we will be using the context API. So if you guys just get a refresher of the context API and then we will start to use it. Okay, and yeah, and that's about it. Okay, and that's all for today. If you guys have any question, you can ask now, or we can come back and meet tomorrow. Okay. Anyone else have any question?
No, Samandra. We can connect
Okay.
tomorrow. Thanks, Samandra.
Okay. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.